So there are two things that I need to stop doing on the search for scratch. And the first we're going to work on today. That's 3-putting. I just have a few too many. Even one is too much for me. 3 putts on my card at the minute. And I typically find it's either when I've got a long putt and I leave it short, or a downhiller that goes quite long. And then I've got a real knee knocker on the way back. So I'm going to work on my putting today. I shared in my video last week that that's where I'm going to start on the search for scratch, trying to cut my putting average. And I know it's got to come hand in hand with short game and approach play. But for now, I'm eager to cut those 3 putts off my card. And so we're going to work on that today. I'm going to take you through my plan for how I'm going to work on cutting my putting average down to 32 putts per round, hopefully, but also my new routine. Since having that lesson with Jamie, learning aim point properly, I feel like I've really got a framework and a feedback loop to improve my putting, working on speed and read, and hoping that the two match up a little bit more so we can start making some more putts and start avoiding those 3 putts. So I'm going to take you through my practice today. We're on the putting green. We're going to start long and work our way in to those knee knockers. So we're starting out with a 20+ footer here. It's got a touch downhill to it, but I'm going to get a feel. So this is my new routine. I come in, when it's a putt like this, I go halfway, feel with the feet, and I've got a tiny subtle feel in that one in the left leg. So that tells me that it's going to go from right to left. Because it's subtle, I'm going to give that a 1. So that would be 1 finger with aim point. And I know that this can seem really nerdy and quite data, but I promise you, the more that I just get the feel and then sort of associate that feel to a number, the quicker this routine has been, and the more accurate I can be as well. Because if I then give this a 1, it gives me a point outside. So I'm lining up my finger to the flag, and then outside that 1 finger, or if this was a 2 breaker, I'd give it 2, 3, and so on. Outside that 1 finger, I can start to see an aim point. So I'm now going to put another ball down on this aim point to test my read, to see if this is accurate. So I could see a spot about here. I'm going to go past the hole. This was another thing that I took away from the lesson with Jamie when it comes to distance control. And it seems like such common sense, but I wasn't thinking about this when I was putting. I was putting to the hole. But he talks about putting for a foot past, so allowing for distance a foot past the hole, which makes sense because then we're not going to leave so much short. Because if we're aiming for the hole and we don't have the pace to it, we might be a foot short, never up, never in. But if we can aim for a foot past the hole, we've got a chance. It might break in for us and just kind of have that dying pace to it into the hole, which is what we want. And then what I do is I come back, I've got my aim point, which in a normal setting, I would obviously, when putting, I'm not going to actually put a ball down on the course, but this is just for this practice for me to build this feedback loop of, is this a 1? Is what I felt in my feet accurate? Is my read correct? And then now I just have to match my speed to the read, hopefully. So then for that, I'm coming behind and I'm just going to look at the hole and try and feel into the pace. So here I'm working on both the rhythm of the swing, of the stroke, but also what I feel is the length of the backswing. And just here we go. And I feel that's getting a little bit better because it is downhill. I can feel into it and then execute. So my routine is read, rehearse, execute. So we're coming in now. We've got the feel. Let's see how we're getting on with our practice. If we've got the read or the speed accurate. Oh, go on. Oh, not quite. Okay. So, positives. I felt it did break. It could have actually been more than a 1, or I needed to give it a little bit more pace. But what I'm happy with about that is I felt like I gave it a chance. I could have given it more of a chance and maybe been a little bit, have the break happen a little bit higher up here. And maybe we could have just caught enough of the cup to make that putt. We didn't, but I would now hope from this point that again, within this range, we'd be making that. So we're sticking with the long putts to really dial this in because it's the downhillers that can lead on to my 3 putts. And my goal with this practice is not only to build my read ability and my speed control, but also just get that feedback loop going so that hopefully we can get more 2 putts and fewer 3 putts on the card. So I've not got much in that at all. If anything, I've got a tiny touch in the right leg, which tells me it's going to go from left to right, but it's not much at all. So I'm actually going to play that straight and try to just get the speed down. So I've done my read, I'm now coming back, rehearsing the stroke. I've got my aim point, which for straight would be here. I'm going to experiment with straight in it, straight at the hole, and see if we're right. I mean, my eyes now, which this is the key part. So Jamie was like, if you're going to go with one thing, go with eyes or go with your feet. Don't sort of dabble with both because they might contradict each other. You know, when you sometimes look at a putt and it's an optical illusion. So I'm going to trust my feet on this one and just see how accurate we are. Rehearse the speed, come in, execute. Oh, it did break off a little bit there, but I take that. From this distance, I'd be pretty confident in a 2-putt from there, whereas this could easily, for me again, if I doubted myself, if I gave it too much, if I boshed it past the hole, would easily lead to 3-putt territory. So hopefully this is more of that little 2-putt, and this is what I'm loving about aim point, is the feedback loop. So again, I've got a subtle feeling there, but because on the last putt I know I should have given it a 1 and I didn't, I'm now going to confidently give this a 1. So I'm going again, finger against the flag, get my aim point, which obviously on the course I would just pick out and know, but I'm just going to do this for my own sense of practice, picking that target, picking that aim point, but then coming in, rehearsing the speed, looking at the putt to feel into the rhythm and length of backswing and see if this is a 1. Oh, so close. Closer than I might have been if I wasn't using aim points. So again, we've got a tap in for a 2-putt, which from that distance, probably looking at a good 15 plus feet there, I wouldn't expect to be making that. I would hope to make it, and we might get there with our 32 putting average, but we're not there yet. So this is just about getting that feedback, working in that routine, that process, and building trust in the feel so that I know what a 1 feels like, what a straight putt feels like, but really just trying to match up where possible the read and working on that with then my speed work. So really working on that distance control. So now that I've worked on the longer putts, really trying to dial in the read and the speed so that we can 2-putt tops from that sort of range of 15 to 20 feet. I'm now going to work on some knee knockers. So these are the putts, maybe the sort of 5-footers, maybe slightly longer, where you've possibly saved yourself a little bit. Your short game's got you to here and you want to make it because it's going to save your score, whether that's scrambling for a par, saving it from escalating to a double bogey, which I need to get off my cards. So these are the ones that I can get a little bit nervy over. That's why I call them a knee knocker. And you just want to be able to make more of them. So I'm going to come in and do the same routine. From this distance, it's a lot quicker because again, I've got that feel. Got the break on it. It's only a little putt, she says. Let's see. We can just finish them off. So this one's a little bit downhill. I've got a tiny touch in that, but I'm not going to give too much away here because it's not the longest of putts. And when they're this distance, it's less about using the finger. It's more about picking a point. So a 1 would say be an inch outside the hole. Oh, that was lucky. There's me talking while I'm putting. Look at that. Come on, Ratcliffe. Or even looking at the edge of the hole from this sort of range. But again, I just want to get confident over these, get relaxed over the routine, trust it, build confidence in it. And we go. So those are the putts that I want to be making and not missing when I'm on the course, because they might be your par saves, your bogey saves, so they stop you scrambling away a score and feeling like you've just lost that confidence in those knee knockers, the putts that you want to be making when you're on the course and you've got a card in your hand. So I'm going to practice these as much as I practice the long putts, the ones that we want to 2-putt tops, and then we've got the ones that we want to be making more of. So that's going to be my practice routine, not only focusing on the read and the speed and trying to match them together as much as possible so we can get closer to the hole, aiming on that foot past and possibly making more putts, but also then starting to dial it in, from a performance perspective. So not just picking the same putt over and over again on the practice green, but giving myself putts that I might find myself with when I'm on the course, the long ones, the knee knockers, and do my best to build my confidence making those so that we can avoid those 3 putts and work on getting that putting average down from a 33 on a good day, 37 on a not so good day, maybe 36, down to that 32. But the first port of call is cutting those 3 putts. And so this is going to be my practice routine to do that. And that is my putting routine. Read it, rehearse it, execute it to help me when I'm on the course. So let me know, what's your go-to routine when it comes to putting? Are you an eyeballer, plumb bob? Do you use aim point as well? I would love to hear in the comments below, and I'll see you there.